Okay, yeah, thank you very much. And I think the key point there is 25 years. It's actually 25 years and 1 month. So that was my anniversary at Siemens. And actually, when Gillian asked me to come and speak at this event, I kind of said, well, what do you want me to come and talk about? And the discussion went on, and it's like, well, 25 years at Siemens, how does that happen? What's kept you motivated? What gets you up in the morning? And when I look at that, the key to that is being part of a high performance team. And I think Charlotte touched on this earlier. It's so easy when you get into a role and you do the same thing every day, you do reach that kind of plateau in your career and you think, okay, things go a little bit stale, which is why being part of a high performance team is really, really important, because as I say to our team on a regular basis, every day is a school day. And then you kind of get yourself into a position where you're now responsible for that team and making sure those people stay engaged and focused and committed. So that's kind of where I'm going to talk about today. And then Gillian also said, you've also got to talk about, okay, how did you get to that point? So a quick overview of my career, and it does go back quite a few years. I'm not going to put any dates on there, but I did graduate from Brunel University many years ago. And my first job, as it was a company called GEC Avionics. And it was one of those jobs where they said, come and be involved in exciting fighter jets and do flight trials, and you can fly these, you can be part of this whole program flying jet aircraft, and it all sounded really, really exciting at the time. And then I realized that when we did flight trials, basically we did them in a transit van with wings. So I spent many hours bumping around in the sky over Clacton, for anybody that's local, trying out all of the new avionics that were going into our advanced fighter jets and the Euro fighter jet program and things like that. But one of the things I got out of that is when you're developing technology that basically enables an aircraft to fly at 3 meters above the ground at 600 miles an hour, you have to have a lot of procedures and a lot of processes in place in terms of keeping things safe and keeping things structured. And as a young engineer, that kind of wears you out at some point because it's all very formal. And so then I took a jump, and again, for those people that know the local geography, it was kind of Basildon to the Bay Area. So I joined a company called 3Com, based in Santa Clara, and they were developing some really bleeding edge technology. I was part of the team that, I started off there, and for anybody that's plugged in a network cable, I have a couple of patents on the RJ45 connectors, so that also dates me a little bit. But then we got into, let's develop wireless technology. So for a number of years, we were developing Wi-Fi and networking equipment and Bluetooth and those type of things. And then we got to the year 2000, everything went a bit downhill. I ended up coming back to the UK and actually joined Mentor Graphics as it was. And having had two pieces in my career where one was extremely structured and one was very tactical and moving very quickly, I came back to Mentor Graphics and I was able to apply both of those. And over the years, so Mentor Graphics was eventually acquired by Siemens. And both of those elements of my previous career has led me very well into building a career in the EDA industry. So being able to both be very strategic and focused, and also addressing all the tactical things that happen on a daily basis. So that's me. So being part of a high performance team. So I see our team as being a high performance team. Some people may think otherwise, but that's my view. And in terms of what that entails, is a number of key things. And I think a lot of them have been touched on already, which is good because it means everybody's thinking the same way. And it's part of having some very lofty, focused goals that the team are all striving towards achieving, but also that team has to have a very strategic view, has to be very collaborative, communication has to be key to that team. And I feel our team has all of those components. We work extremely well together. Everybody has their own defined roles and responsibilities. So everybody kind of stays in their lane in terms of what they're doing, and the whole team kind of work as one. We also play as one as well, so we have a lot of social time together, and I think that's also another important part of these high performance teams. And I mean, as you can see from this slide, we develop like market leading products in kind of record time to meet the challenges of the industry. And what we prescribe of our team, go back, is that the team itself, we have some very, very basic core values. And that starts with when it comes to developing new technologies. We can't just go off on our own and develop new technologies. We have to have that collaboration with the industry. So we have to make very good partnerships and very good links with the semiconductor industry, and work with the whole of the semiconductor industry to come up with what these new technologies will look like. So there's a very extensive collaboration there. Longevity, we have to be quite careful in the way we develop products, because if you develop quick fixes, you can spend a lot of engineering time on something that's not maybe used for a month and then forgotten about. So making sure that we innovate correctly is a key thing. And then also focusing on making sure we pick the technologies that are going to give us the best quality and the highest value products. Because if we go out to the semiconductor industry and ask them what they want, we come back with 10,000 answers. So we have to boil those down into what are the real key topics that are going to benefit everybody. So the whole team kind of work towards this. And then when we come up with a concept, we follow a kind of a 6-point strategy in terms of we plan 5 to 10 years out in advance. So we obviously do have to do tactical things, but from a strategic point of view, the team spend a lot of time strategizing and making sure that any technology that we put in place has longevity. It's going to service the semiconductor industry for a good number of years. And then if it's something new, we need to do some research. So whether that's internal research or partnering with other academia or whatever, then we do that. And then obviously we partner with semiconductor industry leaders. I mean, we're here in Cambridge today. And then through, let's say, academia, our R&D team, we go off and we develop highly competitive products that really last the test of time. So, and the team itself has been successful in doing this for at least 30 years plus, and we have a process that just continues to generate technology that is kind of leading the market in this particular area. But I guess the real question is, with all of these team principles and concepts, how do we pick the right people, and how do we train the right people to join the team and make sure that they have all of the right things to to join that team and be successful. And part of my role is to make sure that anybody coming into the team, well, first off is making sure we have the right people come into the team, and then make sure that the team members are given all the right tools to progress their career in the way that they want to, and be successful. And interestingly enough, I mean, Charlotte touched on this earlier, but used a slightly different approach, but I refer to them as the three buckets. And the three buckets are key to being successful, not just in a career in technology, but kind of any career. And you kind of have to fill these buckets to a point, to build your own success. And you can't necessarily fill them all at once. You tend to find that you will fill them in a particular order. First one being knowledge, so making sure that you have all of the right knowledge to do your job. Then build a certain set of skills, and then also then go on and build the network, because once you have the knowledge and the skills, you can build the network around you, and then people then see you as an expert and a trusted advisor, and you can only really get to that point if you've got the knowledge and the skills behind you. And so much these days you see people starting to jump to the, oh, I'm going to go off and do this, but without having those first two buckets fully filled. So what I'm going to talk about now is kind of how do we get there, and it will be with reference to Siemens, because obviously I've been with Siemens for 25 years, but there's other companies out there and other companies available. But what we do is we start off by working with right down at the school level. And I mean, back in the day, some of us did work experience. What we tend to do at Siemens now is instead of having the school children come in to us, we go to them. That makes life a bit easier. So we really getting them interested in technology and what's out there and what needs to be done. So really getting them kind of geared up to a career in technology. So there's a lot of effort put into that. Siemens also offers a graduate program, and this isn't a new thing. It's way past its 100-year jubilee. And interestingly enough, looking at some of the statistics, so we have a 53% take-up of women in the Siemens graduate program. So that's pretty good going. Like I say, it's been going over 100 years. And it does a really great job in feeding people into Siemens, into their new careers. And then once you get into Siemens, we have a couple of internal programs. We have what we call the Atlas program and the Associate Application Engineers program. The Atlas program is really focused on graduate engineers and getting them on-the-job training. And then we've got Associate Application Engineers, of which I know there's at least one here today, where really you're working in a more of a sales technical environment to get your experience. And then as you build the knowledge, people in our team, we have huge amounts of kind of patent applications, technical papers. They're working on standards committees. So really, really advancing their careers. And we very much encourage this to help build that skill set and that knowledge behind people coming into their careers and really filling those buckets. And then we get on to the skills. So as I'm running out of time, I won't talk too much about this, but essentially by applying those skills, we end up building, as I say, leading edge products. And it isn't just a one-off. We have a consistent flow of new product releases every year. We have at least 2 or 3, up to 6 new products that we release every year, and that's down to having this strategic approach and making sure that we have the right skill sets available and bringing the right people into the organisation to do that. And then having all that technology and all those skills is one great thing, but being able to get out there and talk about it and network with the industry is another key part of everything that we do. So actively encouraging the team members to publish papers, go to events, go to conferences. And I mean, this is just a snapshot of our team's event program for the year. And you can see that it's more than one a week. So we really do encourage the team to get out there, be part of the industry, talk about what great things we're doing, and also absorb whatever the industry is doing. And then specifically from women engineering perspective, we do have initiatives similar to ARM, where we have working groups, etc., inside Siemens that are championed by executive leaders to move those things forwards. And I'd like to think the results really speak for themselves in terms of the success and the recommendations that Siemens gets from the broader industry. So with that, I think I'm just about on time. So hopefully that kind of gives you an insight into kind of the way in which we can really encourage people to get involved with these teams and hopefully stay longer than people would normally stay. It's all about retaining people in the industry and making sure that we're successful. So thank you very much.